What's up?
We're back. Happy New Year, everybody.
What's going on? Well, we picked a great night to do this on not thinking through it. We did it on the national championship football game evening.
Yeah,
So
but who even watches that anyway?
who watches football anymore, right? Exactly.
Only our home college, our hometown college,
Wow.
Georgia. Yeah.
This will be short and sweet so we can get to the game because that's a huge priority. But we have a lot to go over tonight in the next 10, 15 minutes or so. We want to talk about what's happening, what we're doing next, where we're going. We had a lot of people ask about us doing this again. Really, people enjoyed us coming on and jumping on and going over some great data. And we've got so much going on, but I think you want to kick it off and just kind of lay it down where we've been, where we're going, and what's happening next.
So one of the things that we've done is a lot of data collection from patients and from our viewers as to the types of things that they're interested in hearing. And one of the most common things, it actually corresponds or correlates with New Year's resolutions. One of the top New Year's resolutions that we hear people going after is to get healthier. And being that that's the business that we're in, we've worked with people for the last 24 years now.
Going on 24.
24 years. And one thing that we know for sure is it's hard. It's hard getting and staying healthy. But I can promise you this much, that it's much harder to get healthy once you're sick than it is to stay healthy and maintain it. And no matter what the boundaries are, and no matter what the limitations, no matter what the roadblocks are, there's ways to get healthier. And we just happen to know a little bit about that.
Well, I think for the last 2 years, COVID has become an excuse. And it's been, and I get it. Like, I mean, we've even had our downfalls inside that too, just because people can't get to the gym. They couldn't do this. They couldn't do that. It became a routine of not being able to do. So you just didn't do. And I think it's time now where just people said, I had enough. We're getting so many more patients coming in saying, I'm ready for 2022 to be a healthier year. I'm ready to go out there and just get back on the wagon and go after it. So that really inspired us to kind of get back into doing this again, because we got such a good results with it. People jumped in, they followed. It was, we got a lot of amazing feedback, like I said. And so as always, January is always the time of the year to kick off those resolutions, which, I have mixed feelings about that whole idea.
Well, let me just tell you, I don't even know if you're aware of this, but some of the data that I researched on resolutions is really astounding. In 2021, wait, this is 2022 now, right? Yeah. In 2021, only about 27% of people actually set up resolutions.
That's it?
That's it. About 27% of people.
Wow.
And the reason is because they're setting all of these goals. Like over 50% of Americans say, now this is an average that I've collected over several different organizations and companies and people who've collected data on New Year's resolutions and people's health and whatnot. Over 50% of Americans say as a resolution that they want to be healthier. Over 50% of people will set up as a resolution, they will resolve to exercise more, to lose weight, to eat healthy. Some smaller numbers, we'll see people want to quit smoking and they want to quit drinking and they want to save money and they want to decrease stress. And we're not seeing really good numbers come back on the people who actually set the resolutions. So we're seeing on average, again, across the board, less than 20% of people will actually keep all of their resolutions.
So why do you think that is?
That's a really good question. We're going to get into that in just a minute. Yeah. But we've also found that it's less than 40% of people will keep some of them. And that leaves the rest of us doing none of them, being a complete failure in the things that we resolve to do. So what does a resolution really mean? In essence, for most people, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. And the reality is, it's so funny how we make up this day. It's like January, we're going to do this. It's the new year and we're going to do that. And yet 15 days later, a week earlier, you didn't do anything. So yeah. I just think it's a mindset. And I think it's a shift in your consciousness. And we're going to hopefully walk through that for the next the series that we're going to be going over and looking at mindset and consciousness and changing some of those things. But obviously we do start off the year with our typical detox, which is exciting because I know everybody gets into that. We've gotten so many people that have done that with so many great results. And it's just been amazing for us to do that. So come here.
Yeah.
Our dogs are driving us crazy. So come up here. Just get on here.
I think they want some screen time.
Yeah, they want some screen time.
Say, hey, everybody.
So let's talk about that.
It's
Let's
Vito,
talk about what are we
Vito
doing.
and Enzo.
Let's talk about what's happening, what's going on.
Okay. So one of the biggest reasons why people are not successful, which we know this already, and this goes across the board, whether they're coming in for chiropractic care, they want to get out of pain, they want to lose weight, whatever, your goals are off. And this is one of the things that we want to help you with in this series is to understand why the only way we're going to be successful at anything that we do is if there's a really good reason why. What's your why? You know, we let our failures discourage us from being motivated and from moving ourselves forward because we don't know how to do it. But when you have some partners in crime that know what to do and how to lead you down that path, then it's going to lead you to a greater success. Excuse me, boys.
So I think, but I think a lot of the whys come out for the wrong reason. Like, I want to be healthier because I want to look better, and not because I actually want to function better, right? So I think the reason behind the why is sometimes lost inside there. I think sometimes the why is I want to function better, but then the knowledge becomes a lack of it, so they don't do it. So there's always these tripping stones that happen for people, and everybody's is different, and they're all over the board. But that's where people just get stuck on it because they just don't know what to do next, or they just don't. Their initial intent is off.
Well, and I would really like to share a story with you guys because I've had some health issues over the last couple of years that I've been struggling with. And because of that, and what we know with functional medicine and chiropractic and all of the different forms of healthcare that we know and practice, I decided to go on an autoimmune protocol. And I literally stripped my diet of almost everything. I mean, I ate plenty of food, but I was eating certain meats, certain vegetables, and certain fruit. And that was it. That was it. Occasionally I would cheat a little bit and have a little bit of popcorn, but literally I took everything out of my diet. And my goal was to get out of pain. That was the main objective. Is anybody here, anybody watching us, is anyone, raise your hand if you can, write a little comment in there. Is anybody dealing with pain? Because I promise you, one of the biggest causes of our failures with losing weight is the same thing that causes us to be in pain. It's inflammation.
It's the common red thread.
It's the common red thread. And I'll tell you what, everyone, if you're going to look for the fall guy for chronic disease, it's inflammation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like over the last last year or so, we've had, I don't know, I've probably had about 8 to 10 patients lose over 50 pounds just in the practice, doing some simple things consistently, and they have shedded weight like crazy because what's happened is once you find out the trigger that's your problem, strip it away, let the body kind of decrease that inflammatory rate. Then what happens is the cell starts to work, the body starts to function. We're going to go over all this stuff on Thursday, and you can kind of see why it's happening. But for so often, man, they just constantly keep doing the wrong thing and expect different results. It doesn't happen.
And most of them didn't have to work as hard as I did.
No, you worked crazy hard. Yeah.
But I want to tell the reason why I brought up my particular situation is because I wanted to know my outcome. I had been losing my memory for a while. I had foggy thinking. I couldn't communicate well. I couldn't remember things. It was absolutely. What are you laughing at?
She remembered she loved me. It was like,
that was an effort too sometimes. And it was probably because I was so annoying because he would tell me things and I would forget them and I would tell the staff things and I was driving everybody crazy because I could not remember a damn thing. I mean, people would come in and out of my life and I oftentimes couldn't even remember who they were. And it was horrific. Along the journey, along this pathway, and this, I didn't just do it for a week or two. I actually did it for 4 months. Longevity is key. I promise you. There's ways to get started in that healing process, but longevity is key. And that's why we want to teach you and walk you down the path of getting you healthy and well, not just short term. There are no quick fixes. So what started to happen with me is, number one, I did end up losing weight. I lost about 10 pounds. That's a lot on my small frame. I was actually too skinny. So I started adding more food in very carefully. But I lost weight. I got stronger. I got my mental clarity back. I started sleeping better and a lot of my pain patterns went away. So don't tell me that the gut is not the key and decreasing inflammation isn't the key to getting whatever it is that you want. I promise you, I've seen it in my own life. We've seen it in the lives of our patients. And the biggest things that people tell us, whether they've lost 5 pounds or 50 or 80 pounds, is the difference that it's made in their lives. And that's the real why.
So I have a young kid that came in. He's like 9 years old. He comes in, headaches, eye, doctor, been to everybody, not focusing on school, on and on and on and on. But he's getting these blazing headaches every single day. Came in, we started adjusting him, looked at him, talked to him about his food and diet, ran a sensitivity test on his food. Guess what it was? Gluten. Kid, headaches are gone because it was an inflammatory to this kid, right? Headaches are gone. He's paying attention better in school. It's incredible what food can do for you.
Yeah.
And that's where I think sometimes you just got to admit to yourself, like when I did, like gluten's just not good for me. I had to admit to that I can't eat my regular Italian pasta like I want to. Now I found some great gluten-free Italian pasta I order from overseas, but that's besides the point.
Now, one of our patients brought up to me the other day, I mentioned to her about maybe doing a food sensitivity test. And she said, well, I was thinking about doing the elimination diet. And I said, that's a great idea if you've got a lot of time. Because here's what happens. Most people will take out something like gluten and they won't eat gluten for 2 weeks and nothing changes. So then they take out dairy and they go back on gluten.
That's a good point.
Right.
Yeah.
And it takes up to 21 days. And we're going to get deeper into this on another day, but it takes up to 21 days to see an inflammatory response, something that takes time to show the response in the body, a delayed response. So if you don't stay off those foods long enough, you won't get to see the results, number one. And number two, if you add that food back in and you take something else out and you actually have a problem with both, how are you going to know if you never get a change with the first food and the second food?
Impossible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it runs deep. It really runs deep. And the first thing that we need to understand is, number one, what our why is. Number two, you've got to be really uncomfortable to not want to live the life that you lived back in 2021. It's got to be a real thing.
Listen, I get it. No,
Yeah.
like if you're not happy and you're not comfortable, you got to decide to make a change. You got to draw a line in the sand and you got to put a point down and say, I'm going to be healthier and no one's going to stop me, regardless of what happens, where I'm going, what I'm doing, how come, and you just draw a line in the sand. And when people make that shift consciously, I can't make that for you. Nobody can make it for you.
Stop holding yourself a prisoner and stop thinking you can't because you've got something planned for next weekend. What did we have planned all summer long? We had parties. We held a wedding at our house. We hosted a wedding.
Awesome.
We hosted friends that we haven't seen in 5 years. They all came to the house and we hosted them for almost a whole week. We traveled. I hosted seminars where I cooked for doctors. Guys, I did it. And you know why I didn't fail at it? It's because once you begin to feel the difference that it makes in your life, you don't want to mess that up.
I agree.
But you have to get yourself to that place, and you're never going to get there if you don't start.
So what's our strategy? Let's go after this.
Okay. So strategy number one, we want to make sure that we're getting off to the right start. We want to remove the interferences from your life. We're going to teach you how to clean your pantry, what foods are good, what foods are bad, what to stay away from. We're going to help you set good goals. We're going to give you a good strategy. And the starting strategy for us always is the UBC.
Yeah, it's a great start.
Yeah.
So that's our Ultimate Body Cleanse, and it's our 10-day cleanse. It's great. It's the best thing we've used as far as a cleanse goes, or detox, if you will. The shortcoming of it is it's 10 days. That's the shortcoming of it. That's the honest truth. Like, it's incredible for 10 days. People do incredible. The light bulb comes on, or like, holy cow. But it's not long enough to create a pattern and a habit and a rhythm in your body. So that's where we love the 10-day, but I like pushing people past the 10-day. Just because if you stay on something longer, you just naturally, habitually will create that. Two, your body will also make metabolic shifts. They'll change. Your cravings will go down way, way more. Like, all of a sudden it just becomes a part of your, like, just overall being and rhythm. And it just becomes so much easier when you do it longer. And I've really noticed like 30 to 45 days is the magic number. And then after that, it just becomes a lot simpler. And then you're just,
I'll tell you, for me, it was, and I do this every day. For me, it was a struggle in the very beginning because you're learning a new pattern and you're trying to figure out how to fit it into your life and how to leave the house and how to continue to eat healthy even when you're not home. It took me about 3 to 4 weeks before it became like super easy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like, we'd go out to dinner and he'd be like, are you sure you can go to this place? And I'd say by 3-4 weeks, I was like, I can figure out anything.
Yeah.
I've got this. This is easy now.
Yeah, it was great. So that's going to be our strategy. So this Thursday, we're going to be doing a talk on the UBC. So we have a kickoff date. Is what, January 31st?
January 31st. We're gonna talk about it on Thursday. You're gonna do a whole talk and explain how the body breaks down, how to build it up, why we need to do these things, and then talk to you about how to order the detox.
Yeah. And then that'll be your 10-day, and then we'll talk about some ways you can do some stuff in the future. We'll give
Are we doing blood work this time?
We're not going to do it this time. It just becomes a little too heavy on it.
Okay.
But I'm just going to give you guys some insights on what we're doing. If anybody wants to do it longer, we'll be able to give them some options where they can. We
actually have a lot of people signed up for that already.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So we've got a great group. Which, by the way, is the final thing that I want to tell you is we've got a great support group.
Yeah,
we've got a private Facebook page.
We've got like 30, 40 people already signed up.
Yeah, we've got a private Facebook page. We are all going to be keeping on top of everything. That's where the education is going to come in.
Yeah.
So Dr. Joe and I will be on every Monday for the next 6 weeks in this series. But if you want to get the real nuts and bolts of how to be successful, how to prepare for it, which is we're going to be preparing for it before January 31st hits. So by the time you start that detox, there's no way you're not going to be successful.
Yes.
So you want to get in on the private Facebook page.
So that'll be Thursday. We'll kick it off. We'll give you all the data on that stuff. And then that'll be the next 6 weeks. We'll just run through it with you guys, go after it. And then I think it'd be exciting. I'm super pumped up for it.
Yeah, me too. We'll be doing it with you as well.
All right. See you guys Thursday. What time?
7?
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Thursday, 7 o'clock. All right. And after that, we'll be back here every Monday night at 8 o'clock. All right. Mwah. God bless. Happy New Year. We love you, and we'll see y'all soon.
See you later.